Hello, welcome back to Talkin' Giants, presented by the Fanatic Sportsbook. Today is April 17th, 2026. We are 6 days away from the NFL draft. But man, can't help but feel like there's a certain part of this Giants world that's burning down a little bit, and certainly a bridge is burning between Dexter Lawrence and the New York Giants. It's Tuesday night, the same day that Joe Schoen has his press conference. Then Ian Rappaport comes out with something that says that the Giants and Dexter Lawrence are at an impasse. And then Thursday afternoon, the New York Post, Paul Schwartz, Ryan Dunleavy say Dexter Lawrence no longer wants a new deal for the Giants. That $28 million solution is off the board. His time with the Giants is over, a source says. So, Sean, how are you?
I think I'm doing better than you, Justin. I think I'm doing better than you, but let's get into it, buddy.
Congrats to your daughter who just lost her first tooth.
First tooth in the Morash house out of two kids. It's been wiggling since Labor Day, ironically. So we went through a whole Giant season. I can't believe she lost it. Little nervous about what
the tooth has been on its way out for almost a whole calendar year.
When I kid you not, I do like a Labor Day Saturday college football party every year. It's like the end of summer. We do this thing in my house. She came up to me as I'm grilling during the 3:30 games to show me this front tooth wiggling. And I said, great, it'll be gone within 2 weeks. That tooth survived till April. She's got like 5 other loose ones. So I think they're going to start falling one by one like the Berlin Wall here.
Yeah, so we recorded a whole show, and Sean and I had a spirited kind of Dexter Lawrence discussion and debate within that show between that first part of the show that you're not going to see.
Of Talking Giants lost tapes.
Yeah. I had an optimism in my voice that that a resolution between Dex and the Giants could get done. And I think even Sean, when we talked about this 2 weeks ago, I mean, I think I called it like a 25-30% chance that he would get traded. Maybe you put it like somewhat higher, but it was still like in the 30s.
Like 40, 60, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But now I'm flipping. I'm now flipping on that entirely. And I think it sucks, man. I think it sucks.
Okay, like there's a couple different ways to go about this. Like, all right, I will join you on the it sucks train in terms of it would have been nice for Dexter Lawrence to be like a Ring of Honor Giant that finishes out his career here and was a full part of the new wave of John Harbaugh Giants football. Like, I think we all agree on that. Like in a perfect world, that's what we all wanted. But Justin, where like I'm at, where I'm not nearly as it fully sucks as you is, okay, like I think long-term the Giants are going to be fine without Dexter Lawrence, and that doesn't mean 2026. I agree. They're not going to be as good a football team, but I think the mass panic and hysteria that is setting in the responses to this report about like how F the Giants are, I think is a little overblown. Now, if it's just about 2026, okay, like I can join in that, but like the idea that it's going to take the Giants even further years to figure out how to be like some kind of playoff team, Super Bowl contender, like it's a quarterback league, and you got to hope if we're all believers in Jackson Dart and John Harbaugh, they are going to figure out a way over the course of the next 2 years to get the defensive tackle group right. And hopefully assets used in trading Dexter Lawrence are a part of that. I don't think this team is completely screwed. I do think that our 2026 expectations get lowered, but overall, like long-term betterment of the team, I don't think this is as disastrous as everybody's painting it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, man, we're kind of at two polar ends of a feeling spectrum here.
Okay.
Where my feelings in this is I really just wish that I could snap my fingers and the Giants just work out some sort of resolution with Dexter Lawrence, because they have right now in 2027, they have 25 players under contract with $67 million in cap space. In 2028, they have 12 players under contract with over $200 million in cap space. Money should not be the thing that the Giants plant their flag on here. And I don't know what they're trying to prove by playing this game with. I still feel like Dexter Lawrence is their best player on their football team. I still feel that way, Sean. I 100% still feel that way. I don't know what they're trying to prove. And you can feel however you want to feel about Dexter Lawrence dogging it in 2025, which he did. We talked about that on this show over and over and over again. Like, I think this guy's checked out. I hate how much we have nailed this Dexter Lawrence situation of talking about it's not just an elbow, it's not just an out of shape thing.
Right.
He wants more money. I hate how much we nailed this, Sean.
You knew at the moment Carl Banks bashed him, because Carl Banks ain't bashing anybody unless he knows it's actual effort and he's been given the green flag to. We called it right here on this show. We were all over it. It's the truth. So Justin, I guess this is where we meet our fork in the road. Okay. And this is where I am not going to lie. Some of my, hey, good riddance, the Giants will live, comes from a spot of anger. I have swayed the pendulum back and forth here, and I am fully come around on kind of being anti-Dex. I'm anti-Dex and more pro-Giant in this stance, because just hear me out. Justin, I understand the standpoint of like, hey, look at the cap space the Giants have coming up. They should pay this guy. If it's that simple, like, I get what you mean, but there's ramifications to this. And while all I've read from certain reporters, depending on certain angles, is the ramifications of what kind of message does it send to the locker room? You already have Dexter Lawrence upset about seeing other guys leave. If you just trade him now, what kind of message does that send? Well, how about this? What kind of message does it send to a guy who's been now vocal about keeping him, Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas, very shortly Malik Neighbors, and we could start to add up this list in terms of, wow, Dex got a deal with 2 years left on his deal. I want that. And you watch how quick that cap space starts going out the window the moment you got to start paying edge rushers 2 years ahead of time. The Dexter Lawrence saga, he's 1 year ahead, whether he likes it or not. And yeah, you want to say it's the Giants' fault for not really doing void years and front-loading his deal. That's a separate argument that I have my own issue with ownership on. Justin, the fact remains, too bad how sad when you have 2 years left and not 1 year left on his deal. Now's not the time to be putting your foot in the ground if you're Dexter Lawrence off of the year you just had, demanding, $30 million a year. Because if you're doing that off the kind of season you had, I think it sends a reverse message to the locker room that will hurt this team financially in the future, which is step right up and take advantage of John Harbaugh-led Giants, because they're handing out these contracts like candy. Dex doesn't have the ground to stand on. And this is where I'm getting frustrated. He just doesn't. He had a down year, and there's not 1, but 2 years left on his deal. That's not how this works.
The ground that he does have to stand on, the leg that he does have to stand on, Sean, is that at least for 2026, right? I can't sit here and be like, if they draft Caleb Banks this year, right, and he turns into the stud that I think he could turn into, or a Peter Woods, right? I can't sit here and say, I could predict the future of how they're going to replace Dexter Lawrence. Here's the reality, though. In that all of the years that we have known, and all of the years where we have been holding our breath every time Dexter Lawrence and or Leonard Williams comes off the field, all those years where we've been holding our breath, Giants and Joe Shane, 4 years in now, have done nothing to surround Dexter Lawrence with, forget capable replacements, just capable backups.
Yes.
A capable second defensive lineman to him, because every time you come off the room,
especially since they lost Leonard Williams,
yes,
they tried with Ashawn Robinson. Yes.
And they should have even brought him back like that.
Right.
Us talking about Ashawn Robinson has been the best interior defensive lineman that they've brought in since Leonard Williams, and even outside of Leonard, like since like BJ Hill and Dalvin Thompson and all these guys that Dave Gettleman drafted all those years ago. I mean, 7 yards per play. 7 yards per play allowed when he's off the field. That's the leverage that Dexter Lawrence has. That's the leverage that he has, is that when he's not on this team, like I think right now they're fucked. I think they're royally fucked, Sean. That's the leverage that he has.
But fuck in 2026, is that all we're talking about? Because we got to have long-term vision, dude.
And it is a reality of the situation, whether people like to recognize it or not. It is a reality of the situation. Like you said, Brian Burns says, if I'm here, I want him here. I want to play with Dexter Lawrence. I want them to find some sort of solution. And I think part of the reason why Dex wants a trade to begin with is all these guys that have left, and they've gotten better, and they've gotten paid, and they have found success, and they have won. You cannot tell me that feeling of kind of, Squidward is inside, seeing Patrick and SpongeBob run around outside. You can't tell me that there's not a part of that Giants locker room that's feeling like that, right? And it's a business. They're all getting paid a lot of damn money at the end of the day. So I'm not saying I feel bad for these guys, but you can't tell me that over the last couple of years that precedent that has been set, that we are going to let our best players leave here And not only are they going to leave and we're going to get worse, they're going to find tremendous success the second that they leave here. You cannot tell me that that is not part of this situation. And I really think it would be an awesome start to the John Harbaugh era if this is just resolved. And I feel like it can be easily resolved. And I don't understand why they're planting their flag in the sand when it's their best player on the team, who I think Dexter Lawrence, arguably better, not arguably, is a better player than Xavier McKinney, is a better player than Saquon Barkley, is a better player than Julian Love.
Okay, so I agree with that, but I guess the counter argument is, Justin, everything you're speaking of that Dexter Lawrence lived, John Harbaugh and a lot of the young guys that are the new nucleus of this team, whether it's Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterwood, they have not lived that. So,
but they know it and they feel it. I'm telling you they do.
Okay. But how about this? And this is where I'm going to use the word because you put it in my head, my friend. You put it in my head. The disease of losing, that losing culture of the locker room, everything you're talking about resonates.
Maybe.
It seeped into Dexter Lawrence, dude.
Maybe.
Let's be real. And the way Dexter Lawrence is handling this situation, he is handling the situation like the new John Harbaugh Giants or the old Giants he already kind of lived and bathed in. Now, he's a human being, and it's the same building he walks into, and technically the same general manager's there. But if Dexter Lawrence had, half a brain, he would, that's a wrong frame in football terms, but he would understand, like, dude, you have a Super Bowl winning head coach that just came in here. This is not the same situation just because Joe Shane happens to be floating around with an office anymore. And in the end, John Harbaugh has nothing to do with the fact that Leonard Williams isn't here, Love isn't here, McKinney's not here, Saquon's not here. John Harbaugh is looking at this from a clean slate going, I want to reward guys that A, want to be here, and B, I know more about it and love football. And when you put on the tape last year, John Harbaugh is watching the tape going, I'm not sure Dexter Lawrence loves football and has nothing to do with John Harbaugh.
Yes.
And there's no doubt that John Harbaugh and Dexter Lawrence have spoke. I find it hard to believe they have not spoke.
Yeah. Which, if that's the case, Sean, if that's the case and John Harbaugh has gotten the impression that Dex isn't about it, then I 100% do believe that this is that we got to get out of here. And I do want to say the root of this trade, the root of Dexter Lawrence's not being happy, like I led off with talking about watching other people find success and his friends and stuff like that. I think that's part of this equation. The main 85-90% of this equation is he has zero guaranteed dollars over the next 2 years. Right. And he wants to guarantee himself money where if he gets hurt and he suffers an elbow injury like he did in 2024 and he has to miss a good chunk of the season, he wants to make sure that he is getting guaranteed. That is the root cause of this. Okay. And good on the Giants for, you said this, good on the Giants for not having to restructure his deal and push money down the line and push guarantees down the line. Like, I cannot believe that we have gone all these years. And I think they've touched Brian Burns and they've done Andrew Thomas's contract, surprisingly enough, even though he's missed time. They have never touched Dexter Lawrence's contract, which good on them. But now this is the repercussions of them, I guess, never touching his contract.
Yes, and I don't think this is going to have a negative impact from the locker room in terms of, like, in another year, like at the end of this year, Brian Burns is awesome again. You turn around, you give Brian Burns that extension. You give Andrew Thomas that extension. That's how quickly you fumigate the locker room and show guys.
If you win, nobody's going to give a crap about this.
Right. And look, again, I'm sure these guys love Dexter Lawrence.
No, it's a big if with our New York Football Giants.
And they have so many holes anyway that I just think from long term, and this is the other part of this, Justin, by the way, just because Dexter Lawrence is guaranteeing or is demanding this trade and doubling down, I'm not handing him over for a third-round pick, and we all agree with this, right?
Absolutely not.
That is where we would pivot and be anti-John Harbaugh. We're talking about a package, potentially, where the Giants could get a first-round pick and then some. I'll give you a perfect example. If the Bengals go, you know what? We'll give you the 10th pick in the draft, and then we'll give you our third, and then add on whatever else. And the Giants walk away from the trip with Sonny Styles and Mansour Delane, and then they take a D tackle in round 2, or whatever the hell the case may be. Or maybe they trade back further from 10, like play that game. This could work out to the Giants' benefit because they need assets and they need players. And if that means they aren't the 10-win team we're dreaming of in 2026, but it means they're a 10-win team in 2027, I'm okay playing that game. And if it means constantly changing over or trying to change the culture of the locker room, because Dexter Lawrence, as great as he's been, it just has the stench of that disease of losing that seeped into wanting this money. I'm not going to get upset. And also, furthermore, be truthful, Giant fans. for everybody that wants to pay Dexter Lawrence. And I understand why, right? He's a beloved Giant. You've seen all the reasons he wants to go.
And he's an elite player. I still think he's an elite player too.
There is a world, whether you want to believe it or not, that maybe not in 2026. By 2027, 2028, we start to see a decline in play. If that happens in a Giant uniform and he's making $30 million a year, you'll be the first one screaming that the Giants made a mistake in the first year of John Harbaugh's era. It's on the table that happens. And we can't be hypocritical here. We can't be. Yeah. So again, are the Giants a better team in 2026 and probably 2027 with Dexter Lawrence? Yeah. But I don't think you close up shop and say this is the end of the John Harbaugh. Like, they have no shot at making the playoffs in 2 years because of this. I think John Harbaugh's got to set a tone now. And setting a tone isn't just handing a guy a blank check off a bad year. Setting a tone is letting everybody know you're going to get paid if you produce and you love football. Dexter Lawrence did neither of those things last year.
Yeah.
Neither.
I hope it works out. I hope it works out, but I just don't think it will.
One more thing.
Yeah, please.
Post-draft. Name your package or whatever. Let's just forget whatever they add and we figure this out. Let's just say their second round pick is Cade McDonald or Peter Woods or Caleb Banks. And they also sign DJ Reader and Shelby Harris. And obviously now Darius Alexander's your fourth defensive tackle. That's not the worst defensive tackle room in football. And it's on the table that they make both of those things happen. That you don't think they could sign DJ Reader and Shelby Harris if they trade Dexter Lawrence and move some of that money out of the way? And I'm not saying those guys are long-term fits, but for 2026, if you give me a D tackle room with one of those tackles we've discussed at nauseum on this show, plus Reader, plus Harris, plus Darius Alexander, and then Roy Robertson Harris, your 50 tackle, is that really a horrendous room?
It's not horrendous, no.
No, it's a winnable room. It's not dominant. It doesn't have the dominant force.
It'll get you by, yeah.
That'll get you by. They're not going to be. And then you throw in if Sonny Styles is playing linebacker and they've added Monson Delane at corner, like the defense could be better in a scenario like that. It actually could be. Now they have to do those things, but I'm just painting the picture of what freeing up the money and the assets you gain, what they can be used on. Like there is a way to do this here. Yeah,
I really hope that they get it. And I do think they're, from everything that all the reporters are saying, like why this could take time. And I wonder, like, is the draft the deadline? Is the draft the deadline? If we go past the NFL draft, does that mean that Dexter Lawrence is on the team, or are they willing to deal 2027 picks because apparently the 2027 draft is better? Like, is the draft the deadline?
I would make the draft the deadline for me, but it would be hard to say no to first in 2027 knowing that draft. For the team being better this year or trying to win this year, the draft would be the deadline for me. Because either Dex is on the team or you have accumulated somebody else you could add either in the offensive line, defensive tackle, or corner room with the high pick you get for him. So that I would make it the deadline for me. I think not getting that asset this year and not having Dex feels like a real brutal blow to 2026.
Yeah.
Good time.
Dude, the only problem is that there isn't like that. There just isn't that. I mean, outside of where the Giants are picking in the top 5, top 10, and even like top 5, top 10, there's not like the blue chip prospect. We've talked about this on this show too.
Yeah.
There's not like those guys that go like, damn, I feel like that guy's going to really just kick some ass and be a stud. Dude. Especially want to talk about if you're going to trade Dex, then like, where is that interior defensive line going to be coming from in this year?
Yeah. But
I mean, Peter Woods is the consensus guy, and man, are there major question marks around him. Caden McDonald isn't going to offer you much as a pass rusher. Then you have Caleb Banks and major injury red flags with Caleb Banks. So,
but Justin, again, if they got a mid first or a late first, right? Like they could. Let's just say I'm using the Bengals as an example because like they're a team that could fit him or whatever.
They're picking 10.
The Giants could use that pick right there on Vega Wanye. Oh, I'm screwing up his name, aren't I?
Yeah.
Out of Penn State. They could get the guard there. They could add Sonny Styles as your massive tackler. And then guess what? High second round, you're not worried about guard there. You absolutely just take one of those defensive tackles. That's all should be in that range at that point. Yeah. Even if he's not a game changer, at least you're addressing the other areas that have been bothering us about this team. And if you leave the draft going, like I said, you add those two guys in free agency and you take, whatever, insert Caleb Banks or McDonald. I don't think it's a disaster room. I don't. But you got to also sign those guys with the money that gets freed up.
Yes, 100%.
But they've both visited, so hopefully that's the plan in place.
All right, Sean, we're going to be doing a mock draft too, and it's going to be a Sonny Styles mock draft. I really loved it, but before we go on to that, I got to talk to you about the Fanatics Sportsbook because football season might be over for now, but there are still plenty of ways to get on the action all year long with the Fanatics Sportsbook. Every time you place a bet, you're earning FanCash up to 10% back on your bets, win or lose. I've enjoyed earning some FanCash using the Fanatics Sportsbook so far, and unlike points that expire, FanCash is the true currency of sport. You can use it on official team gear and collectibles on Fanatics.com. Your next bet or profit boost, and even exclusive experiences across the world of Fanatics. Plus, Fanatics is the home of fair play injury protection. If your player goes down with an injury in the first half, your bet gets refunded, and it's part of, and if it's part of a parlay, that leg is voided, and the rest of your parlay plays on. I was watching a baseball game at the office a couple weeks ago with some guys at the office, and they placed a parlay. A player like on the on the Sacramento Athletics went down with an injury. And they were like, oh my God, is the parlay going to be voided? Are we going to be good? Are we going to be good? Parlay was voided and the leg's still alive. How do you like that? Bet, earn, and get more out of every game with the Fanatics Sports because winning hits different here. Thank you to Fanatics. Now on to the mock draft. All right, so we're doing a Sonny Styles mock draft. That's what we're doing today. Next week, the next time that Sean and I talk to each other, there are going to be 3 episodes, maybe even 4. I don't even know.
I've lost count of how many we've even done this week.
There's going to be a crap ton of stuff going on next week, and it's going to start Monday with an interview, and then Sean and I, we may be live streaming Tuesday. The fact that I just said it, I think we're going to do it. We're going to live stream Tuesday night, talking about all the options at 5 and what we want. We may even do one final mock draft as a what we want mock draft, but do it quickly and just present it.
I got you.
So we're going to do Sonny Styles. We're going to take him 5th overall today. 6'5", 244 pounds from Ohio State. Interior linebacker. Has a consensus ranking of number 6. He is 21 years old now. Will be 22 in November. He is a young guy. 82 total tackles this year. 6.5 tackles for loss. A sack, an interception, 3 passes defensed with 1 forced fumble. Sean, if I've listened to you correctly over this month, I think Sonny Styles is your 1-1 guy that you want at 5 right now, right? Is that still the case?
So there's 2 things that are true here. Caleb Downs is my favorite player in the draft. Sonny Styles is the player that absolutely makes the most sense and I think will not miss if the Giants take him in this draft. Okay. Does that make sense? Because I think we all agree the idea of a linebacker tackling machine when we scream about run defense, and we just argued about Dexter Lawrence, dude, Sonny Styles is a freak. And you cannot just I know you're going to get that term everywhere when you hear about Sonny Styles. It doesn't even matter in terms of reading scouting reports. Just throw on any Ohio State game. Do yourself a favor and go on YouTube and find any Ohio State game this year. Well, you look at how good Caleb Downs is, and he's awesome. And you look at how awesome Arvell Reese is, and he is. Sonny Styles doesn't miss tackles. Sonny Styles has linebacker sideline to sideline speed on game day. That is something we have been coveting from as Giant fans for years. The Giants have not taken a first-round inside linebacker, non-edge rusher in the first round since 1984, Carl freaking Banks. It has been that long since the Giants have spent this kind of capital at this. This is a weird draft. We've done the mocks. We've talked about Jeremiah Love. We've talked about Caleb Downs. Non-traditional positions inside the top 5, including an interior linebacker here, are where the high-end talent lies. And if I'm making an investment on any one of those positions for what the Giants also need to mesh need and great player, you talked about me consensus 6. Sonny Styles to me is the biggest slam dunk that immediately makes a Giant need and the Giants as a team better. And if you mold that all together, I got 2 kids that play with Play-Doh and they're always molding this. That's the Play-Doh effect. Yep. Sonny Styles impacts the Giants the most immediately next year and for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I ironically enough, I agree with everything that you said, including I think Caleb Downs is the better player. And I think it's close, man. I think it's really close.
Not far enough that I'd be like, you can't pass on Caleb Downs for Sonny Styles, is my point.
I am the opposite way, though. I have Caleb Downs as my, I did a tier. I did a tier maker on socials, and I also put it out on YouTube Shorts if you want to check it out. A 2 minute, 46 second short. I've been experimenting with some longer shorts, and it's been kind of working. And I did put Caleb Downs in the only gotta have it. I did the Cold Stone Creamery scale. I brought that back. Like it, love it, gotta have it. And I put Styles in the love it, and I put Caleb Downs and gotta have it. But I think it is really, really freaking close. And the thing that does stand out about Styles the most, you said it, long and athletic, 97th percentile in height, 67th percentile in weight. So we're talking about an interior linebacker that has tested really well, that isn't like 220 pounds, 225 pounds, or even 230.
And if you can believe it, his arms even play longer than they're listed. I know it's a weird way to phrase it. 97th
percentile. That would be pretty.
It's like a lurking monster with Inspector Gadget arms as he wraps you up. It's like he could be 5 yards away and somehow touching you. It's insane when you watch him fly on tape.
Yeah. Excuse me. 84th percentile in arm length. He's 97th percentile in height. 77th percentile in wingspan. And Sean, my first note here is the same thing. His length really shows up in his ability to chase down ball carriers and get guys on the ground. It enhances his ability to go sideline to sideline. There are very few runs that are too wide for him to track down. And this is so impactful when you consider just how historically bad, and I know you said it, I'm repeating the same thing, just in a different way. When you consider how historically bad the Giants' run defense is, specifically outside the tackles, because what are teams trying to do when you have a guy like Dexter Lawrence on your team? They're trying to run away from him. And between their bad secondary and their awful linebacker play, outside of 1 year of Bobby Okereke, historically bad. Like, it almost leads to a 10-plus yard run every single time. And I think with Edmonds, and especially with Sonny Styles for the long haul, I hope that does go away, and it very much should. Length also shows up in coverage. Ohio State would put him out to cover guys out in the slot and have the confidence to do it with his former safety background. It's kind of crazy that he does have like this body to be like a linebacker, but he is a former safety, and I think that's awesome that he has that background.
Right, already transition. We're not playing the game of, the Isaiah Simmons game here with Sonny Styles.
No, but he still is like relatively new to the position, where I think 2024 was his first year there, 2025 full year kind of starting there. 2 missed tackles on 2025, both coming in the bowl game against Miami. Didn't have a missed tackle before that. But he did have a 20% missed tackle rate the year prior. And I feel like, kind of similar to drops with some players, like missed tackles, it could be one of those volatile things. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Like, I'm not going to sit here. I think his 2025 tape and the fact that he showed such great growth as a linebacker in 2025, that should be the main story. But I don't want to ignore that 1 year prior, he had a 20% missed tackle rate. I think those things can be volatile, right? He sheds blocks in an elite way. To get rid of guys and to get past guys, tax guys with heavy hands and extension, very smooth lateral mover as well. The ability that he has to diagnose plays from a very inexperienced off-ball linebacker is very, very impressive. And I have an expectation that should only get better while he's still so new to the position.
Just real quickly, I just interrupt that because I think this is important to note. He gets like you talked about, like the transitions he's made, gets the green dot in 2025 for Ohio State's defense. Remember, this is an Ohio State defense led by Matt Patricia, which say what you want about him being a failed coach, the pencil in the ear, everything. That is an NFL defensive coordinator that's at Ohio State. He slaps the green dot on him, and his ability to diagnose plays with all of that, with an NFL coach coaching his defense, and with all of the studs we talked about, Downs and Reese on there, putting everybody in their right position and read everything. Like, that's the kind of thing on the NFL level, like you said, I think only takes a step forward. And important for the Giants, too, when you think about it like this. Don't discount this when you talk about leadership and all this. Last year, the Giants took their quarterback in the first round, Jackson Dart. This year, if they take a guy like Sonny Styles, they are effectively taking their defensive quarterback in the first round in back-to-back drafts. Now, that might feel like, well, who cares about the defensive quarterback? I think that's kind of important on the Giant defense.
Yeah.
And I think if you check those 2 boxes off in back-to-back drafts in the first round, now you're really cooking in terms of something that, not every fan thinks about, but is pretty important. You have your 2 quarterbacks on offense and defense in first-round investments back-to-back years.
Yeah, and even thinking of like Abdul Carter and the Cam Scott and the type of leaders and the personalities that they drafted last year. And, Dart's pretty brash and Scott's pretty brash. And obviously Abdul Carter is brash himself in some ways, right? Or if you're talking about personalities, Tremaine Edmonds has been described as a very quieter, kind of reserved guy, but when he speaks up, everybody listens. But talking about Sonny Styles and looking at it from the long game, per Dane Brugler, I always love including, if he includes any kind of nuggets about who you are as a leader and who you are personality-wise, I always like to include that since I think that's a very, very imperative part of the pre-draft process. Per Brugler, laid-back personality, and I kind of like that dichotomy between like the 2 years, right, where you have more of the brash guys last year, and then the Sonny Styles kind of leading off the draft class being this more quieter personalities, but he carries himself like a pro. Described to NFL scouts as the best leader in the program by the Ohio State coaches. Also, per Dane Brugler, I find this to be funny that he included this because I laugh at the visual of this. Received a standing ovation during a formal interview with an NFL team following his on-field combine performance. Like, you know how Jack and Rose are dead in Titanic and everybody's just clapping around him? That's what I'm kind of visualizing. Team
that's
captain. Like, is that what happened? Everybody just
they all sit there and clap.
Team captain received the most votes for captain on the team. I will say, I want to talk about some of the areas of like I feel like that he can improve and maybe some red flags to watch out for. I want to see him play with a little bit more intensity and tenacity. I know there are times where he's driving guys on the ground, and especially if you're a running back that's catching like a little button hook that's like 2-3 yards away from the line of scrimmage, like you better look out. He's gonna take your freaking head off. But I do think that there can be a little bit more like angry to his game. Take what's yours, man.
He plays too nice.
I don't think he plays too nice, but I kind of want to see a little bit more. You know,
okay.
When the level of expectation is 5th overall pick, like you got to be a stud, you got to be a dude. I want to see that. This is 100% a thing that he needs to do. He needs to lower his pad level when he plays. As a tackler, he needs to lower his pad level because there are guys that are bigger and stronger in the NFL that will put their shoulder down and they will run him over, and then it will lead to yards after contact and or missed tackles. Like. You need to lower your pad level. And it's even when he's shedding blocks too. I think it's just so much easier when you can use your legs more. Isn't the best blitzer in the world, but I think with his athleticism and length, an NFL team is really going to unlock him in that area of his game. And I feel like the best is yet to come in terms of him as a blitzer. But outside of pad level, like that needs to get lowered when he's, especially as a tackler. There's very few red flags of his game.
And think about some of the guys we talked about. Like that's really, really getting into the minutia of what could go wrong with Sonny Styles. I think he has very much to a can't miss prospect as possible. And just to put a finishing bow, we talk about oftentimes how quarterbacks should be really good mentors. People reference Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes. I actually think teaming him up with Tremaine Edmonds at this point in Edmonds' career would only.
I think that'd be awesome.
I think it'd be awesome for Sonny Styles. Yes, exactly.
Ironically enough, like they're both very long. And like, I don't want to use it as a comp because that would just be lazy. And I don't love player comps anyway. I don't watch like the NFL and then college football to make like those confident comps. But I mean, body wise, they're kind of similar. What Tremaine Edmonds has been asked to do in coverage in the NFL, I could see Sonny Styles like translating into that. Ohio State, they asked him to do a lot in coverage. The fact that we say Edmonds is like kind of quick and fast for his size, and he could still go sideline to sideline, even though he's been in the league for quite a while. Like you can kind of see the vision there with those two guys. So I 100% agree that even Edmonds just from the beginning can be just a really good example of just how to be a pro and how to make it in the league. So that'd be cool.
I love it. Are we ready for round 2?
We're ready for round 2, but first, I do want to talk to you about Warby Parker because today's episode is sponsored by Warby Parker. Buying glasses used to feel way more complicated than it need to be. You walk in and everything's overpriced, the styles feel outdated, and somehow you feel like you just needed a game plan to just figure it out, and that's why Warby Parker is such a game changer. They've completely simplified the whole process. The biggest thing for me is the virtual try-on. You can literally use your phone. When I was going to buy my sunglasses that I'm going to be wearing to a bunch of NASCAR races this summer, I use that virtual try-on. All you have to do is just point the camera right to your face, and you can see how different frames actually look in real time. It's not those janky versions either. It genuinely gives you a feel and fit for style before you even buy. I got my new pair of sunglasses from them, and they are going to be great. They have a clean look, comfortable. You can tell that they've made them with quality materials. Definitely gotten some compliments on them too. And I know when I'm with my guy Noodles in Charlotte Motor Speedway, he's going to be like, hey, where'd you get those glasses? And I'm going to tell him, Warby Parker. And the price point is a huge difference too. Prescription glasses start at $95, so you're getting something that looks good and lasts without overpaying. Right now, buy one prescription pair and get 20% off any additional prescription pairs at warbyparker.com/Giants. That's 20% off at warbyparker.com/Giants. You just learned that I have a friend named Noodles.
You have a friend named Snacks and a friend named Noodles.
And totally unrelated and unconnected friend groups.
What a weird concept. A lot of food. A lot of food friends.
A lot of
That's
food
great.
friends.
Okay.
Sean.
You want me to go first?
I want you to go first with round 2, pick 37.
Okay.
In the 2026 NFL draft and the Sonny Styles Giants mock draft. Who did you take?
Okay, so I had guys like Emmanuel Pregnon on the board. I had a couple of the D tackles, including Caden McDonald on the board, but I went different. I went with Avian Terrell, cornerback, Clemson. He is 21 years old. Let me pull back up the measurements that I just lost, of course.
And he does not have very good measurements.
No. 5'11", 186, a junior corner, consensus ranking of, wait for it though, 24th, which has now made this a perplexing. How does Avian Terrell fall to 37 for the New York Giants? Well, Justin, he ran a terrible 40 time at his pro day, combine as well, and it is being linked to a nagging hamstring injury that goes back to Clemson. Now, whether you want to believe that or not, I leave that up to you, but he was banged up throughout his junior year here in Clemson. He also got a little bit of a delayed start as a freshman. I'm sorry, I got thrown to the Wolves as a freshman, a little bit banged up as a sophomore. So a little bit of an injury history for Avian Terrell, but he's a press man outside corner, even at 5'11", Justin, which is going to fit what Denard Wilson's looking for. Why do I take him at 37? Look, it's good value. He falls. He's falling because of speed. The Giants clearly, though, have a need at corner, and he's going to fit Denard Wilson's system, but his size does scare the crap out of me, Justin.
It scares the crap out of me, Sean. Has an arm length in the 33rd percentile. How long are his arms?
I just had that up.
It's 31 inches. So 31-inch arms.
40th percentile.
Yeah, I have 30. Yeah, I guess it depends where you look. I have 33rd. What would make me feel better, Sean, is if he has short arms, but if he can run like a deer, right?
Yeah.
And now, if he's hurt
his
and he's
closing speed is good though. That was
yes, and that's where the tape comes in, right? That's where you actually watch, and this guy's a really good player, right? And he has a good amount of ball production over the last couple of years. 2025, 0 interceptions, 9 passes defense, better ball production in 2024, but he also played in 2 more games. Yeah, I mean, I think if he falls to round 2. Medical's a little bit of a red flag. I don't know if he's a fit for the Giants. I don't know if he's a fit for the Giants.
Okay. Listen, he may not be. He seems to be the consensus 3rd corner on the board. Yes. I think by the time we get to 37, obviously, we're talking about McCoy and we're talking about Delane are going to be gone. This would feel like at 37, a guy that you thought was going to be a late first rounder and fills a need for you immediately where you have questions at the cornerback position. This is going need at 37 while trying to mesh best player. He might be the best player available though, Justin. And we really scoff at that, even with our scared aspects in terms of fit. I just don't like the idea of lining him. What I should say by that is Drew Phillips is going to be the nickel for this team. If you line up a 5'11" Avian Terrell on the outside, I am then worried you're going to get mossed by big receivers constantly.
Yeah. Terrell's put up really good film. He's been a really good player.
So. It's a need, man. It's a big need, but okay.
I took a player at corner as well, and a corner that I really like, and I am really glad that we're talking about. Chris Johnson, San Diego State. 6 foot, 193 pounds, arms that are 31 1/3 inch long. He is 21 and a half years old, and he has a consensus ranking of 39. Sean, I think Chris Johnson's going to go in the first round.
Okay.
Even though he has a consensus ranking of 39, I think he's really, really good. I think his measurables are good enough. He has an arm length around 50th percentile, but a 40-yard dash at 80th percentile is a 9.82 relative athletic score, which I say for corners, cornerback will really be the only position that I talk about relative athletic score.
You love the RAS.
I think it matters for corners. And I'm even taking a guy with arms that 50th percentile, Justin. I thought you like guys with arms that are longer. I think his film is that damn good. He changes direction on a dime and closes in on targets and the ball very, very quick. He mirrors so well off the line because of his speed, footwork, and quickness. His transition from his back pedal is so smooth and it seems so seamless. He plays like he is a confident player. Like I have this theory that like Chris Johnson, I think he's a confident guy and he's a confident player because I think there's little thinking to his game. He trusts his instincts. He trusts his footwork. He trusts his technique and his athleticism, and it all leads to him being a very sticky player. I think he's a versatile player. I think he can play in off coverage. I think he can play in press. 4 penalties and 870 career coverage snaps. That's awesome. 16.1 passer rating allowed in 2025. That's the best out of all cornerbacks this year. Not just in this class. It's the best out of all cornerbacks this year. Gave up only 2 passes of 20-plus yards this year. Tied for 10th in interceptions in 2025 with 4. 5 was the most any cornerback had in the game. He's a good tackler, not afraid to get his nose dirty in the run game. He closes in fast on ball carriers as well. Only a 5.4% career missed tackle rate. And has also made some really good legit special teams plays and coverage this year on the outside. Now, he is a little smaller, so he can get out-physicaled by bigger receivers, but I think he has a competitive mindset and mentality that he's not going to back down from it. He also did not face very good competition at all.
I'm just going to say this. State. Compared to the other 3 corners that we've talked about at length, the level of competition when ripping off some of these numbers, what is the concern?
But I think between all of his measurables, between how well he moves, his athletic numbers, and typically there is a run of corners that will happen in the first round. And if you look at some rankings, like there are people that have Chris Johnson at the top 3 or 4 corners in the NFL draft. It is not crazy to think that 3 or 4 corners are going to go in the first round. I think Chris Johnson is going to be a first-round draft pick.
Okay. Well, look, I'll say this. If he's a first-round draft pick, it's going to be good for the Giants at 37 anyway, because the trickle-down effect is somebody else projected in the first round starting to tumble to the top of that set.
Right.
Any way you slice it. So
I am a little not worried, but this is just an observation that I'm having, Sean. The Giants have had top 30 visits with Lee Hunter. They've had a top 30 visit with more. I think they've had top 30 visits with more O-lineman or D-line. Chase Basantes is another one. Jordan Ronan has linked them to Keelan Rutledge, who we talked about in the O-line preview episode. They've been linked to more O-line D-linemen at 37 than cornerbacks, based on their top 30 visit list so far.
Yes, but they did meet with Delane, too.
But he won't be an option at 37.
No, but my point is, I still wonder in a trade scenario if the Giants really, in their mind, think they're going to get a corner in round 1 by trading back. I know we've talked more about taking Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. I know what you're saying, and maybe that tells the story. We all kind of assume the Giants might get to 37 and trade back, but maybe maybe their top 30 visits are telling us we think we're going to have a taker at 5, and we are going to stay put at 37, and that's where we land D-tackle guard.
Maybe. I also want to give a shout out to us. There was a bunch of top 30 visits that were announced today for the Giants, which
we've been waiting for.
Yeah, there's still more that need to come out. Tacario Davis, Washington cornerback, the longest arms in the draft. I took his teammate, but I talked about Tacario Davis in a short form video that I did.
You were talking about Elysian, right? Elysian, is that his name? Prisock?
Yes, Prisock, yes. Yeah. And then also Demings. But Tacario Davis is another one that he has the longest arms in the draft. I love that the Giants had a top 30 visit with him. They also had a top 30 visit with J.C. Davis, the Illinois offensive tackle that's going to transition inside. I took him on day 3 of my first mock draft. Chris Mcclellan, they had a top 30 visit with him today as well. I took him in the last mock draft that we did.
Yeah.
And we've only this is like I think our third mock draft.
Yeah, little spoiler alert, McClellan ends up in mine today as well.
And the only one that Josiah Trotter was another one. We haven't taken him yet in a mock draft. But Lee Hunter, you took Lee Hunter.
Yes.
And they had a top 30 visit with him as well. So we have been, with our mock drafts, even without knowing top 30 visits, we've been pretty on top of the damn thing.
I love it.
I want to give us some damn credit.
Let's go.
Because nobody else is going to freaking do it.
You want
pat yourself on the back.
yourself
our
on the
biggest cheerleaders. Okay.
Pick 105.
Pick 105, round 4. I'm gonna go first because
You do that.
I love this draft. I've loved my last 2 drafts. I didn't really like my first draft. I like this first draft. You want to know why? Because it was the Jeremiah Love mock draft. Samuel Hecht, center from Kansas State, 6'4", 303 pounds. He's 23rd. He's 23. Ooh. He's 23 years old.
He's older, yeah.
He's 81st on the consensus board. I'm gonna.
This is an interesting prospect, dude. I didn't know you were going Sam Hecht here.
I'm gonna be real. I really like Sam Hecht. He's athletic and he moves really well. And it was almost like watching like a poor man's Tyler Linderbaum.
Oh, okay. I like that. That's a fun comp.
Length questions.
Out in space. Yeah.
Like one of his biggest questions is length. And if defensive tackles have longer arms, that they're going to be able to control them. And overall, just size questions, right? It was the same thing with Tyler Linderbaum coming out. But man, I just kept writing athletic and moves well. Lower body flexibility and knee bend stands out. My next note, ability to move out in space is really good. Moves well in pass pro too. And he also uses his hands really well. He has a wide base and tight hands. Overall technique, I think it's hard to find a more kind of polished center in this year's draft too. And there isn't, like, I think Sam Hecht may be like the top ranked center in this year's draft, and he's like 81st on the consensus board
because he's a traditional center. There's other guys who are going to be like
maybe like transition, right? But I will, and here foot speed, another movement thing. Foot speed is well connected to his upper body and with strong hands. He is a well balanced athletic player. 0 penalties in 2025. Per Dane Brugler, intelligent player who will quickly pick up on things. Quiet, head down, go to work mindset. Developed toughness playing through shin splints as a freshman. He was a walk-on, Sean, and he's kind of had that walk-on mentality since his freshman year. Started 25 straight games to finish his college career. Like I said, length is a question. He did play at guard before he switched to center as a full-time starter the last 2 years. So I think this could even be a guy that could provide guard flexibility in a pinch. Between his mindset, his athleticism, and his technique, I really like this player. And even though he may be seen as a center-only guy, totally okay with taking him on early day 3 of the draft.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. I think he's one of, as I said, if you're looking at just day 3 as a whole, going to be one of the more interesting prospects because of that size stuff. But this feels like when you hit round 4 and you have that, like, hey, if a guy turns out to be a starter, it's a really good pick. But also you kind of hope a guy turns out to be a player for your team when taking him in round 4. It's not a throwaway, sort of like the way round 6 becomes. I think this is the kind of guy that you start having questions immediately, in the second half of this year. If JMS is getting banged up again, hey, is he ready to go in there and start playing significant snaps for the Giants, especially at 23 years old? So I'm fascinated by the pick. All right, Justin, for me, pick 105. Consensus board. I want to make sure I had this right. I had it at 86. I'm going Bud Clark, the 6'1" safety out of TCU, 188 pounds, senior. Age, Jesus,
he's old. He is old.
Where was his age again? I want to make sure I get this right. He was, Jesus, I keep screwing up my page. I lost him. I lost his age, Justin. I lost his age.
I'm going to find it before you do.
You are. Where? I just had all this stuff listed right in front of me. I feel
Bud Clark is turning 24 on May 3rd. Holy smokes, he is old.
So that has obviously been cited as a little bit of a negative. He's from Louisiana. He was a four-star recruit. He chose TCU, so this is not somebody that's been transferring all over the place, over LSU, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. But he's a bit of a ball hawk, Justin. I know you wanted to talk about 15 career interceptions, including 2 pick sixes in his career at TCU.
I don't know how, a guy that has 15 interceptions over the last 4 years. By the way, he found, according to his college football reference page, is pretty funny. He found a way to be a sophomore for 3 years. He's been at TCU. This is not a guy that's transferred, like Sean said. He has been at TCU and appeared in 10 games in 2020. And then maybe it was like, probably what it was. It was probably freaking COVID. 2021 appears in 4. Like, COVID gives everybody how many years of eligibility. I can't believe
we're still in these COVID guys. I thought we were done 2 drafts ago.
I know. But here we are, but with Bud Clark. But 5 interceptions in 2022, 3 and 3 in 23 and 24, and then another 4 in 2025 with 21 passes defensed over the last 4 years. As a safety, Senior Bowl guy, and oh my God, was he just everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere. He dominated the week. He dominated practice, especially the back end of the week. It was an absolute treat to watch Bud Clark just be so rangy, be so versatile. Center field safety responsibilities, half field responsibilities, doesn't matter. He's getting interceptions and he's forcing turnovers. So I texted Sean, I said, you have to take Bud Clark with a round 4 pick 105 this morning, because I didn't know. I didn't think I kept seeing him on the board. I kept seeing him on the board as I'm doing these mock drafts. And I'm like, I don't know if there's ever going to be a chance that I'm going to talk about him, but I really do like Bud Clark, but he is old as hell.
You're lucky. My first because Sonny Styles went off the board quick as I'm doing the mock drafts. I said, man, Bud Clark better be there in my first Sonny Styles, because this could take me 15 times, but he was there. There are scenarios where he's gone by round 3, but I think we'd all be happy with that at pick 105.
I think he does take some chances too. But I mean, I think a guy that's going to put up all that ball production and stuff, he's going to take chances, and sometimes he can get burned. But I love Bud Clark. Had a great week down in Mobile.
All right.
You know what? I'm going to talk about one more thing. And then we're going to wrap up day 3 of our mock drafts, which this is where games are won and lost. I'm gonna do a little radio tease, because we have 4 picks left, and I know we're gonna go through them really quickly. One of the guys left, I'm completely sold on, that I absolutely want on day 3 for the Giants out of all 3 mocks. I think I'm in a similar boat with one of them. Or 2 of them.
I lied. I fell in love with a guy today doing more research. I
got to talk to you about hollow socks, and I'm gonna show you. I got them on right now. Oh yeah. See that? You see that? You see that shit?
Look at those feet.
Look at those feet. And I even got some right here, still in the packaging. They're on my feet. They're super comfy. They're super soft. And the Hollow Performance Alpha socks, they look really sleek too. How do you like that? And today's episode is sponsored by Hollow Socks. Why do we spend good money on great shoes and then throw on the cheapest socks we could find? It makes no sense. I used to do it all the time, and the result is always the same. Cold feet in the morning, fitzy feet halfway through the day, and somehow itchy by the time you get home. It's hot in New Jersey today. It's hot in the tri-state area. I'm a little hot right now. I got a light on me. I'm talking. I'm hot. I'm getting all schwitzy about the NFL draft. I'm getting all hot and heavy talking about it because I'm getting excited about these day 3 picks. But my feet are nice and cool because it adjusts to the temperature, and it's science. And I don't know how it happens, but it happens because Hollow Socks is awesome. And for a limited time, Hollow Socks is having a buy 2, get 2 free sale. Head to hollowsocks.com today to check it out. That's hollowsocks.com for up to 50% off your order. After your purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. You can support our show, tell them we sent you, and tell them that I showed my feet. I showed my feet on this show. It's probably the 6th craziest thing I've ever done on this show. Yeah. Thank you to Hollow Socks.
And look on the bright side. If Talking Giants doesn't work out, you go show your feet professionally.
You don't think I thought about that? Round 5, pick 145. Sean, who did you take?
I took a guy who, as of Tuesday or Wednesday, has come in for a top 30 visit, and that's Chris Mcclellan, a guy that we've talked about, defensive tackle. Out of Mizzou. He's 22 and a half years old. He'll be 23 in October. Chris Mcclellan is 6'4", 313 pounds, senior defensive tackle out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I lost his consensus ranking, but, in almost every mock, he finds himself settling right in there in the 5th round. And when you consider the mock that we've done so far, I am going all defense, it feels like. But this would be one of those guys where you're trying to, have a project, a guy that you try to shuffle through to be in the defensive tackle equation. Chris Mcclellan out of Mizzou. But I know we've talked about him in the past here, Justin.
Yes, we have. And really, player that's not overly flashy. There's actually another defensive lineman that I'm taking a little later that I actually like more than him now that I discovered. But I don't know, good enough. Is not really going to be an advantage. He has gotten better as his career at Mizzou has gone on.
His senior year was his best year. I mean, 8 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, 6 quarterback hurries, 2 pass breakups. Like, he was disruptive in the SEC. He was, but it took him a little bit to get going here.
Yeah. All right, round 5, pick 145. I am taking Jadon Stribling, Ole Miss wide receiver, 6'2", 207 pounds, 23, turning 24 in December. So he is a little older, but he has a consensus ranking of 120. And Sean, I mean, we're doing basically we're going off the NFL mock draft database, which uses the consensus expert board in these mock drafts, right? And it updates every day. The guys' rankings are changing every single day to reflect the boards, the big boards of the media, and everybody that's very smart in the media. Lance Zierlein has a round 2 projection on Stribling, and Dane Brugler has a round 2 to 3 grade on him. The consensus has him around 120, and I just got him at 145. So I'm feeling really damn good about the value that I'm getting here. He had 55 catches, 811 yards, 6 touchdowns in 2025. He was at Oklahoma State for 2 years prior before going to Ole Miss. Did not play with Jackson Dart. I'm sure you're thinking that at home. Oh, wow, can we reunite him with Jackson Dart? No, we cannot. He didn't play with them. Only 1 drop in 2025, Sean. I know you like that. 1.8%. He is also a big-time hands catcher, too. It backs up on film. He accelerates and then gets stopped on a dime pretty well, especially for his sides. He's going to be good on hitches on the outside. And acceleration shows up after the catch, too. Like, a lot of his best yak plays came after he was, like, completely stopped, and then he gets upfield and just beats everybody in a track meet. 4.36 40-yard dash, which is in the 92nd percentile, 79th percentile, 10-yard split. I wouldn't call him like a weapon and like super elusive after the catch, but he's fast. And that's kind of like, hey, Darius Slayton has been like a decent yak guy at certain points of his career, and he's kind of just does that by being fast. Little nifty release package at the line, not a lot of wasted steps, not elongated. Became a back shoulder weapon down the stretch. Also would finish the season very, very strong. 25 catches, 420 yards, 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games. A lot of that coming like in the college football playoff. Hopefully it doesn't end in OPIs, but I think he has some pretty strong hands. Here's some negatives to his game. He isn't a natural separator. Like, he's not like a crafty route runner. I would not call him a route running technician, but I think there are traits here that I do want to invest in, especially at this point in our draft at day 3. I'm running to the phone to get him when a lot of smart people have like day 2, round 2 grades on him. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to compare them because they're completely different players, but this can happen in the NFL, right? Where like wide receiver is one of those positions where a guy could start to tumble a little bit for various reasons. You think of like how the hell the Rams found Puka Nacua not being a first round type talent. And obviously this is not a Puka Nacua type player, but like you talked about Dane Brugler, you talked about who else had him in round 2? Lance Zierlein too. Like, those guys know what they're looking at film. And for whatever reason, for various reasons, you're talking about the crafty route running, not a separator, whatever. You tumble like that into day 3. How do you not run to the podium, especially at a position like that where, man, if you find a number 2 type wide receiver on this team on day 3, it fixes needs going forward in all seasons.
And a theme of this year's draft when looking at wide receivers, I've been taking way more into account if you're good against zone.
Okay.
And this seems like another guy where even though he isn't this like natural, I'm sure like I didn't actually find this, but his yards per route run against man, I'm sure are not very good because I don't necessarily view him as like this shifty, quick player where I can imagine if in man coverage, guys may blanket him a little bit. And that's why he had good production on a lot of these back shoulder throws and things like that. He's also not like this really good contested catch guy, but that doesn't really bother me. I'd rather you be better on back shoulder throws than like be this expert contested catch guy to begin with. But if you're good against zone coverage, which, 60% of the time, NFL teams are basically running anyway. If you're good against zone coverage, you know how to find holes, you know how to find space there. I do value that. And it seems like Stribling has that part of his game.
All right. Did we reach round 6?
We reached round 6, pick 186.
All right. So quickly for me, because our last episode, we talked about this guy. So you don't have to go that in depth, but here it popped right here. Top 30 visit, Travis Burke, O-lineman out of Memphis. He was the guy, if you listen to our last episode, that's 6'9", 325, senior out of Memphis. Now, where he's went awry a little bit, even though the tape speaks for itself, he got much better in 2025 than 2026. Injuries here at the end. Couldn't appear at the East-West Shrine Bowl, and it feels like a lot of teams didn't get the true look they wanted to get at Travis Burke, which is, if you want to say helped his case in terms of a team feeling like he's fallen to him a bit in the 6th round. But we did a lot of breakdown on him. Travis Burke, the offensive tackle out of Memphis for me, Justin.
Moves well for his size, and that's the thing that I kept saying, for his size. I do love his mentality as a player. He's a finisher. He's looking to put dudes on the ground. I do like that he's not 350 pounds and 6'9".
Sure.
That he does move pretty well. I just have major questions on how he's going to face the quickness and speed of edge rushers in the NFL at tackle, probably right tackle. I have questions on that.
Interesting quick nugget, too, that I don't think we mentioned last time. Between his sophomore and junior year of high school, he had a 10-inch growth spurt as a human being.
Holy smokes.
10 inches in 1 year.
I would have hated to be his parents that have to buy him clothes.
Horrible. Fun anecdote. Anyway, okay. What did you have?
10 inches.
Imagine. I'd like to grow 10 inches in one summer, huh?
It's like Jack and the Beanstalk. All right. My pick, this is the first time that I'm doubling up. I think I told Sean before this exercise this month, like, let's try not to double up on guys.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'm doubling up on a guy. But that's because I'm that damn passionate about him. Round 6, pick 186. I'm taking Jadon Canady again.
I took him last week. You took him in week 1. So it's the 3rd straight week.
But this is why, if you're listening and you haven't listened, I'm this sure that this guy is going to be a damn good NFL player.
Was this your tease? This is the guy you're stamping day 3 you want?
There's actually another one.
Okay. I just wanted to say.
There's actually another one. But Jadon Canady, he's a nickel corner / safety. And I think he can ball out at safety. He's going to turn 23 in May. He's 176 on the consensus board, 5'11", 181 pounds. He's small. He's a small dude. That's why he's probably going to not be taken very, very high. It's because I don't think he tested very well, and he's small. But he's a versatile chess piece with a shit ton of experience at 2,400 snaps. Stand out at the East-West Shrine Bowl. Talked about all this already. Only has 30-inch arms. So, can he live at nickel corner? But I think he has the instincts, and I think he's kind of a nut. I think he plays like a nut, and that's why I think he can thrive at safety, and he has some really, really good advanced stats, which I've talked about over and over and over again. Hey, remember I talked about how lowest passer rating allowed 2026 NFL draft cornerbacks, and my guy, Chris Johnson, was number 1. Jadon Canady was number 4 at 39.4 passer rating allowed this year. So,
and his versatility, dude, if there's a Drew Phillips injury, he could slide up and play some.
Yes, 100%. But I do think he can be a safety as well. And I think he has the mental makeup. And I'm just saying this because he's a nut and he just is willing to go after the ball, go after guys with the ball in their hands. I just have this thought. He probably could be good on special teams because he's a nut. I'm also taking another player that there's two picks I have left. I'm taking one special teams nut and then another guy that I just genuinely like on the defensive line. So Jadon Canady, I'm saying it again.
He's officially the Talking Giants day 3 guy. Even if he doesn't end up a Giant, we're going to be following Jadon Cannady's career now. How do we not?
Let's be draft guys. He's our guy.
He's our guy.
He's
your
guy.
I'm still a Casey Concepcion guy, but he's your guy.
You need a day 3 guy.
I'm about to have my day 3 guy.
Say it.
All right, here we go. For me, round 6, pick 192. Now, remember, I've gone 4 defensive guys, my first 4 picks. Finally invested in Travis Burke. Here's where I'm investing in quieting the Jeremiah Love. I'm going with Adam Randall, running back out of Clemson, 6'3", 232, senior, Myrtle Beach, California. He's about to be 22 years old in July. He did get a Senior Bowl invite, so I'm curious if that registers with Justin. Now, here's the story with Adam Randall, and stop me if you heard this before. He was a productive wide receiver at Clemson before Clemson changed him to a running back this year, and he did it all. He had some of that Deebo Samuel stuff going on. He could still run those routes. He could go out there and run between the tackles hard. He was great on third downs being a pass-catching back. Kind of screams some of the stuff the Ravens like to do, where, there was a Keaton Mitchell or whatever Baltimore has done where they've kind of mixed and matched here. This feels like a Harbaugh kind of guy. Also, reminds me a lot of Tyrone Tracy's career trajectory at Purdue as well, except it seems like Randall was a little better between the tackles this year at Clemson than Tracy was coming out of Purdue. So look, if John Harbaugh is serious about adding to the running back room and we're going to yell and scream about taking Jeremiah Love in round 1, you get a flyer on Adam Randall and the upside and what his transition's been. He might have even been selected higher as a running back had he not moved in his last year here at Clemson, Justin. Go watch the tape on Adam Randall. He flies. He's versatile. All the stuff Shane said about Love, where he talked about like he's more than just the running back. Randall's more than just the running back. And if I'm getting that value here in the 190s on day 3, I'm running to the podium.
You're saying we can get Jeremiah Love in the 7th round.
You heard me reference that a bunch. I guess my point would be, for all the talk about Jeremiah Love, if I'm adding Randall with that kind of skill set to what we already have in Scadaboo and Tracy, that running back room I'll put up against just Jeremiah Love.
You did your job. You took the obligatory, I'm going to take a 6th round, a day 3 running back. You did your job. I haven't done that yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, John Harbaugh says he wants to invest in the room. Here you go. You got 3 6-round picks.
You did your job. You did your job. I haven't done it yet. That's kind of like a tradition. You need to take. You just got to take a day 3 running back just to stick it to a.
I love this guy, Justin. Watch the Adam Randall tape. This guy is going to be a player in the NFL.
Not even stick it to the nerds. You got to back up the nerds.
Back up the nerds.
I love this guy that I'm going to talk about.
All right, let's go.
Albert Regis. 192nd pick, 6th round from Texas A&M. I found this guy by accident. He's an interior defensive lineman. He is 6'1", 295 pounds. He's 22. He's turning 23 in May. Consensus ranking of 194th. Boo, I'm getting bad value. Yeah. He's 192nd, and he's 194th, and I'm taking him 192nd. Boo. He is not a very good pass rusher. He had 2 sacks in 2025, half a sack in 2024. It was the last 2 years as a starter. Had 3 tackles for loss, 49 total tackles, 1 forced fumble in his career. 143rd out of 199 interior defensive linemen in win rate in true pass sets this year. So not very good. Here's where he's good. He is 12th. He was 12th in run stop rate among all qualified interior defensive linemen this year. That is not just interior defensive linemen in this draft class. That is all interior defensive linemen, 12th in run stop rate. He is the perfect combination of athletic and strong. Low pad level and a strong lower half. He is a tough man to move. And he has very, very strong hands. Like literally with one arm and one hand, he'll grab guys on the interior by that breastplate, and he's going to pull guys off of him to shed and be ready to make a run stop. He is not a guy that relies on quick wins. Like, oh, I'm just going to rely on quick wins off the snap, right? He is not a guy that relies off of that. He's going to win the fight even if he gets punched in the mouth first. And his ability to sink down, sink his hips, and still win the fight and be able to rim and swip away pass blockers really does stand out. He locks to extend his arms and get extension at the point of attack. Per Dane Brugler, big brother and the vocal player in the program, brings young players along. A young player said about him, when I got to A&M, I relied on him so much. He's so smart. He rarely has missed games. He is a run-stopping interior defensive lineman, and I love him. And here's how I found him by accident, Sean. I was watching Moe Noah and had all 22 on the Texas A&M game.
The playoff game?
Yes, late in the year, yes. And Moe Noah, like a note that I have on like Moe Noah leaning, like kind of comes from partially this play where Moe Noah and the guard are double teaming Regis. The guard goes off of Regis to go up to the secondary level to the running back. Moe Noah is now on him, is in pretty good position to just drive him out if he stays balanced and if he just keeps chopping his feet. Moe Noah doesn't do it. Regis sinks his hips in the ground, gets enough extension from his arms and bench presses, is able to pull, rip past, and make a run stop. And he was getting double teamed. And he's like, he has the strength to stand up against double teams and not get moved like that. So Albert Regis, found him by accident. Texas A&M, interior defensive lineman. I love him.
So would you say Regis filled him?
Enough. Who's your last pick?
my last pick. What do we have? Pick 193.
Yes, back to back in the 6th round. It's going to be nuts.
I know. We've done these. I keep forgetting these are back to back picks. No matter how many times I think about it.
186, Jeremiah, 192, 193. It's gonna make my brain explode.
No doubt. Jeremiah, and I also hope they don't trade back and end up at around 7. Just end it here. Jeremiah Wright, 6'5", 331, Auburn offensive guard. He's a senior, and his age I just lost again. Jeez, I lost another guy's age.
Oh my god! Is this your first rodeo?
I know, dude. What is going on? Either way, look, this is just
I'm going to find it before you. He's old as hell. He's 24 and he's turning 25 in September.
He signed under Gus Malzahn in 2020, so he's another one of these COVID guys. He's an SEC academic, honor roll multiple times, just like a smart player, but he was a right guard, starting right guard for Auburn. Here's the problem. Just nothing's flashy. Can get blown up, loses hips in terms of pass protection, but this is just one of those classic, hey, you hope you draft, you develop, and maybe we find something by, midway through year 2 if he has to plug a little bit. He has a lot of leaning forward, which hurts him. Yeah. He struggles to process stunts. But again, in the 6th round, I'm looking for project guards anyway, and this would help me feel a lot better if I've thrown 2 bullets with Burke and with Wright, and kind of just hope, hey, one of these guys transitions into a player for us down the line. I've done my job on day 3 of the draft.
Yeah, he was at the Senior Bowl, and he was like in a Senior Bowl that didn't have a lot of interior linemen, especially really stand out. He was one of the guys that did catch my attention because, dude, he is strong and he is big.
He's a big ass dude.
Force, man. What is he? 6'5", 330 some pounds. I think he's going to be he could be a powerful offensive lineman if you get him in the right spot, and if he evolves and develops into what he can be. He's a big dude. So I think that's
head spins on those stunts, though, man. Head spins on those stunts.
Worth investing. Why not day 3? Sure. Especially as a pass blocker. One of the things that we talked about in the O-line show is feel like you can kind of work on certain things as a pass blocker and like processing that versus run blocker. I don't know how much of that stuff you can teach and being that dude and being nasty. So, and
just a little thing, starts a lot of games on the offensive line on the SEC. What do you generally see on the interior of the SEC? NFL defensive linemen. So that's got to give him a little bit of a jump.
I'm taking a white boy in the secondary for my last pick.
Wow. Exciting whites adding to it.
Michael Taaffe.
Taaffe.
He's a safety from Texas. 6 foot, 190 pounds. He's a small dude. He's 23. He's turning 20.
I remember this dude now from Texas.
172nd on the consensus board at 70 tackles this year, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions with 1 pass defense. But in 2024, he had 5.5 tackles for loss with 2 interceptions as well, with 10 passes defensed. Basically, this is my special teams pick. Okay. Extensive special teams resume with 844 career snaps, including 12 tackles, and he does have a blocked punt. And I will say, even as a safety too, he's like pretty rangy. He's a psychopath and he's aggressive. He is a nut. Like, he has no care for the safety and well-being of his own body. And I mean, it's not even one of those things that's going to, or it can translate to special teams. It has translated to special teams. So this is my day 3 6th round pick that is being devoted to special teams. And also he played pretty damn good safety at times too, that I think he can be used like that in a pinch, but he's a psychopath and he's aggressive and he's just a shit ton fun to watch. And he's a white safety.
So just quick funny anecdote, watch a lot of college football, my brother-in-law's, and this is where it jogged my memory. My brother's a big Notre Dame fan. Taaffe comes running down, makes a big, as you pointed out, I'll never forget, it's a big special teams play. It might have been opening weekend. And he turns to us in my backyard bar and goes, "What is this, Texas's version of Rudy?" Yeah. That was the thought on.
And he's very small.
Yeah, it's a small little white guy running down on kicks.
But he's a nut. And that's why maybe like the special teams critique is like you want a lot of these long, tall guys to be on special teams. So maybe like that's the critique. But I'm not a special teams film evaluator. So
our head coach is. So
suck it. Yeah. I'll let John Harbaugh know. Like apparently, according to Joe Shane, like people send him highlights and people send him videos of. Did you hear that during Joe Shane's presser?
Yes,
he was people are sending stuff to John Harbaugh, and then he'll show me. That's why, like, I am not all in on this John Harbaugh, this is just going to be his draft. There is no way in hell that John Harbaugh is watching 250 guys in this draft after hiring a staff, after doing free agency, after doing everything that he wants to do with the building and just getting to know everyone. There is no way that he has watched 200 plus guys and is ready to draft. Joe Shane and his staff is going to have
day 3 for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And then a bunch of the scouts will probably be out of here because that's what typically happens after drafts. So
maybe even him.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, that's an episode. We're going to be back multiple times next week. Multiple times.
This is why you download and subscribe to Talking Giants, because every time an episode drops, you're going to get that alert. And keep those alerts on Twitter too. You might have heard I've done that, and I know when these episodes drop.
This ain't Sean's first rodeo. All right, we'll see you next week. Let's go Giants. Thanks for listening.
It starts today. Let's go Giants! We woo!